Okay, thank you very much. And Fabian already made a very good lead over to me. So the Helmholtz Federated IT Services are a platform initiated by the Helmholtz Association, so a um, um, collaboration of 18 centers in Germany that with around 40,000 employees. And the task is to provide innovative cloud and software services for science. So it was in 2019 at the DERSE when at that time Uwe Konrad presented so the initial work plan for the HIFIS platform, and since that point in time approximately nearly 3 years have passed by, and so this talk is now a good chance to look back and see what has happened since then. To give you a short understanding what this HIFIS thing is all about, I'd like to give a short intro to that. So HIFIS is a platform which should offer cloud and backbone services for all of Helmholtz and partners to have collaborative and community services available, which connects all centers and partners with secure, simple, and easy to use solutions. And at the same time, the HIFIS platform has a focus on the topic of research software engineering, which should be supported with a high level of knowledge, quality, visibility, and sustainability. And it should also provide state-of-the-art software development infrastructure for this. And the idea is that all those services are free of charge within Helmholtz and also for the partners there. So looking at Germany, so this displays the 18 Helmholtz centers we have distributed across Germany. 11 out of them are responsible for implementing the HIFIS platform, but of course all 18 centers should profit from the services, and also all 18 centers could, if they wish, offer services via the HIFIS platform or in the Helmholtz cloud. Exactly. Before I jump into the software engineering part, which is of course the main part of the topic today, I want to give you a heads up on the two main achievements of the other two clusters, so cloud and backbone. And one of the core results is the so-called Helmholtz Cloud Portal, which is the place for finding commonly usable cloud services in Helmholtz. There are currently around 20 services. I'm not sure about the exact number, but around 20. So collaboration services, infrastructure services, and the idea is also that scientific or community-specific services show up there, but this is still in the ramp-up phase. And exactly, and this is the place where people can find their services that they can use in the end. All of this requires a central login method, I would say. So at best, each employee should be able to log in with the home credentials of their organization. In Helmholtz, this is set up this way that there is a central community AAI in the middle, which all centers connect to. So this is login.helmholtz.de. And the benefit of this is that each center only needs to connect to the central AAI instance, and each service also only needs to connect to the central AAI instance, meaning in the end there are n plus m connections, and there are also other options where each center would connect with each service. In the end, you have n cross m connections, and this is of course not feasible. So this is why we have this ARC blueprint architecture with a central AI, and perhaps someone of you, if someone collaborates with a Helmholtz institution or is from a Helmholtz institution, you could come across this tool. And thanks, Stefan. So AI stands for Authentication and Authorization Infrastructure. Good hint. Exactly. So all in all, HIFIS wants to somehow be part of the such as typical scientific workflow. So this is a bit simplified, displayed in this poster that was created for the HIFIS platform. So in principle, starting with a scientific project, there are tools that HIFIS provides that help to build up that scientific project. And very quickly, typically, you start collecting data, you start analyzing data, and of course, you need a place where to do this, and also the knowledge to do this. So on the one hand, you need tools and resources for doing that, but there might also be a place where you need the knowledge to do that, and of course, this sometimes need to be made available, which is why also education, training, and consulting is part of HIFIS to make the results sustainable, better sustainable, and also to have good publications in the end that can be shared with others and that follow high quality standards. And the HIFIS software team somehow wants to help in these phases with those services in the end. So we provide education and training, meaning that we host courses and we create and use material to hold workshops in order to get people started with their work or to boost their software engineering practice in the end. Community building is another important aspect because somehow bringing people together so that they know what others are doing and to also foster the cultural change is an idea of the community work package. Then looking at consulting. When you learned the basics via education and training, and then came to the point, now I have very specific questions, very specific requests, and it would be nice if somebody out there could take some time, look at this specific issue and help me solve that. And this is the place where consulting comes in, where we try to help people to solve specific issues in the context of research software engineering. So a pretty wide topic in the end. And all of this needs to run somewhere. And we already heard that from Fabian, that there is a technology infrastructure being available and also being built up still that should be available for research software development and easy to use. And next, I want to go through each of those work packages and give you an insight on the initial experience we made there. Let's start with education and training. So at the moment, I try to classify the course offers a bit into these categories: basic, intermediate, and advanced. This is what we came up with as our initial course portfolio, I could say, that is now being extended over time. So this year we want to add an object-oriented programming course based on Python, but also we want to foster continuous integration usage, and this is why we also want to build a course on that. And one of our principles is, of course, that if we tell people at best use open source, make stuff reproducible, we also want to eat our own dog food and make stuff available we build. And if you're interested, the course material is available on gitlab.com in the HIFIS group. And there they are reusable, typically under some Creative Commons license, I would say, and could also be the basis for other offers in the end. A few numbers. So looking at 2021, in principle, we had 36 online workshops there. So still all of them were virtual with around 668 or exactly 668 attendees from 16 different Helmholtz centers. And if we look at the figure on the right, then we see this is not yet totally equally distributed among Helmholtz. So which shows that it's not so easy to communicate each and every information into such a big organization, and that there is still room to improve when communicating information about events and stuff. We also noticed that since all of our offers are free of charge, this leads sometimes to a high no-show rate of people because there's no real damage if they don't show up. So we typically can calculate with around 15 to 20%. And yeah, so we already have taken measures last year to improve on that. This also helped, but this is definitely an issue. And also what we noticed is this kind of Zoom fatigue, or what you say, so that people got a bit less interactive in those courses. And there we tried to have a look at, what did I do? Try to circumvent this with this gamification approach a bit, and we looked into GatherTown, and this really helped to get a bit more interaction into those courses, and we want to continue with that next year or this year. We are already in 2022. Okay, let's continue with our community services. So in community, we started with investigating multiple formats of community building. So we started trying to a format called Hacky Hour. So we followed an approach which is called the Hacky Hour Handbook, which is an informal, regular catch-up to discuss software engineering related topics. And somehow we noticed in this setup where different people from different domains, different centers come together, and also in the online setup. So this didn't really lead to conversations, to active discussions, and so on. And this was more like listening to a presenter, and this was not really the intention of what we wanted. So we wanted to have discussions there, and also the number of participants was not so good as we expected. And this is why we said, okay, we must do something here and we must change. And this is why we came to the close that we somehow need to reorient this work package and discontinue this format. And this is why we, at the end of last year, came up with the following strategy. So on the one hand, a research software directory for Helmholtz will be, the development of that will be started. So as the central place for, as an exhibition place for software that is being built in Helmholtz, and this should be built on top of and in cooperation with the Netherlands eScience Center solution. And at the same time, to get an understanding on how many or which spotlights, which great projects are developed within Helmholtz. The idea was to collect highlight spotlights of research software development in all of Helmholtz, and which was very well received with approximately 90 proposals, great software solutions, and we slowly try to, or we now try to present them on our webpage at the moment, and they could then be also the starting point for this research software directory thing in the end. To have a starting point there, there's pretty interesting software solutions out there, and they will be put into this hyphis.net webpage in the end. Okay, our third work package, the consulting, is a service where we offer free of charge software consulting for research groups within the Helmholtz umbrella. So we talk about different topics there. So this might be about licensing, open source, but also more general topics like how to set up a new project, how to do code migrations. Yeah, we had a very different kinds of requests there. Of course, we don't just start and let them write emails, because this is not really a good process, and also not really a good accessible and equally accessible for everyone and understandable. So we try to follow, or we follow this kind of process when doing those consultations. So a requestee comes to us, and on a web page, they fill out a so-called consultation request form, where they provide us with a bit of structured information. So this is not like a project request or project proposal. This is more like helping us to not write emails forth and back, but more to get the information we need and can start right away. This is then transferred to our HIFIS help desk, which helps us to collect all the information transparently in one place and to communicate with the requestee in the end from a single location. And this is then assigned to one of 3 consultants in the end. And there one quickly sees with the big range of topics, 1 or 3 consultants could not fulfill everything, which is why we have this network of experts in the background, which we could involve if certain issues could not be solved on our own. In the end, because we also want to have information for reporting, we document each and every consultation with a short report in YAML format, so that we can also evaluate it automatically and also send out a post-consulting survey to the requestee, so in the end, to get some feedback on how everything worked out. I put a few results here. So this is what we received as feedback. So on the one hand, we ask, for example, how big was the impact of the consultation on your project or work? One sees, so typically people really see that this really helped them on their project when looking at the numbers, when interpreting them. But what I like best is the comments we got. A highlight for myself, I put it here. So this person talked about old Helmholtz and that it was quite inconvenient, or that such a free service existed, and that also this might take time before this becomes widely known and accepted. And this really shows that people, so this is one example that shows that people are really happy to have such a service available in the end. Last but not least, let me have a short look on our technology infrastructure part. So also there, our aim is to be transparent, to make everything reliable, also reusable, so that we use the best practices we preach, I would say, also for ourselves, and show act as a best practice example. So this is why everything we implement there is available also on gitlab.com regarding our services. So we created reusable Ansible role, and even the deployment projects are accessible, at least for Helmholtz employees, in the GitLab instance. So that this could also be an example on how to make service deployment reproducible and also reusable in the end. And with regards to the services, I wanted to give you a short look on a few numbers. I added the most important timestamps or milestones to the timeline. So here we talk about GitLab, which is one of our main offers. And looking at the number of active projects and number of active users. And it starts in 2019, where it was an HZDR only service. We see that the numbers clearly rise since then. So in 2020 already, the service was connected to the Helmholtz AI, and then starting with the general availability of the Helmholtz Cloud Portal, the numbers quickly rose. And it really shows that there is a demand for such easily and commonly usable services available. Also, the number of CI jobs that we execute. So at the moment, we run about 4,000 CI jobs in this instance. Of course, that could still grow, but we're already happy with that. And this is pretty good to see, and we hope that this keeps going. And with regards to Mattermost, which is one of our other services that we offer in regards to communication, here the number starts in 2021. So we see that we don't have earlier numbers, but within those short period of time, the number of posts that we handle nearly tripled. And so this really shows that there seems to be a certain demand for such services in the end, and that this can still improve over time. And of course, our service offering needs to keep up with the pace, because of course we need to make sure that the service quality we have is steady. So all in all, perhaps, I don't know if you work together with some Helmholtz partners, perhaps you get in touch with some of those services, try them out. I think this is really a good thing for fostering the cross-center collaboration, and it shows that those services around RSE are highly requested and also required, I think, in the end. And if you are interested, there's even a podcast on HIFIS in the Resonator podcast, so which you could jump in and learn more and a bit more information on HIFIS. Yeah, that's what I wanted to let you know today, and thanks for listening.